The idea that we need to eat 3 meals a day was completely invented out of thin air, with absolutely no scientific backing whatsoever.
Section 1. The constant eating problem. You know, out of all the bad habits that completely destroy our health, the frequency of our meals, I'm talking 3 solid meals a day plus constant, nonstop snacking in between, is right at the very top of the list. Think about it. If you walk into any grocery store today, you're going to find entire aisles dedicated exclusively to snack foods. It's a totally toxic, newly invented eating ecosystem. And guess what? It didn't even exist 50 years ago. We've kind of just trapped ourselves in this endless cycle of constant consumption.
But before we break down exactly how you can escape this constant eating trap and reset your biology, do me a huge favor and take a quick second to like this explainer, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Section 2. The invented 3-meal day.
So, if human biology didn't dictate this crazy constant eating schedule, who actually did? Well, it basically started purely for logistics. The British Royal Navy actually kicked things off because they needed a really strict schedule to feed hundreds of sailors on their ships. Then, the Industrial Revolution rolled around and factory owners started using a literal bell system to dictate exactly when workers ate, just to make sure everybody was back at their machines on time. And finally, the modern 3-meal structure we know today, that was finalized by a marketing campaign in 1917.
Yep, a marketing campaign. Have you ever heard the quote, "Breakfast is the most important meal of the day"? Well, Lena Cooper, who was working for Kellogg's at the time, coined that famous phrase for one simple reason: to sell more cereal. That's it. It lacked absolutely any scientific basis. Meanwhile, if you look back at historically robust, fierce cultures like the Vikings, for example, they literally only ate twice a day, and they definitely weren't reaching for midday snacks.
Section 3. The biology of fasting.
So what happens when you strip away a whole century of food marketing and switch to eating 1 meal a day, or OMAD? Well, your biology undergoes a massive 30-day transformation. Here's exactly how it breaks down under the hood. During the first 8 hours after your meal, your body is really just digesting and storing fat. Nothing crazy. By the 12-hour mark, your stored sugar, which is called glycogen, drops off, and you start producing ketones. These are an incredibly efficient fuel source that your brain absolutely loves. But right around that 16-hour mark, that is where the physiological magic actually starts. At 16 hours, your body triggers something called autophagy. Think of this like a bizarre but super powerful internal cleanup crew. It's literally the process of your body recycling old, damaged proteins in your liver, your muscles, and especially your brain. But here's the massive catch. Your body doesn't do this cleaning when you're eating. This cellular deep clean only happens when you are fasting. And the data on this is just phenomenal. In fact, 66 separate studies involving thousands of people during Ramadan in 2023 proved that this type of extended fasting does incredible things for your internal health. It massively decreases triglycerides, it improves cholesterol profiles, and it leads to huge, measurable improvements in insulin sensitivity. And what's honestly even more fascinating is the impact it has on your brain. Researchers found that if you simply cut calories and spread them out throughout the day, it does absolutely nothing for your brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. But doing OMAD, it significantly spikes this crucial brain connection hormone. Why? Because you're mimicking a natural environment of infrequent eating. By the time you hit days 15 through 30 on this protocol, your growth hormone, which is basically the ultimate tissue repair and weight loss hormone, spikes absolutely wildly. To put it in perspective, we're talking about an average spike of 500% above baseline for men. And for women, a staggering 1,225% increase. It's going into overdrive to rebuild muscle, repair tendons, and accelerate fat loss.
Section 4. Surviving the first week.
Now, to reap all these massive cognitive and physical rewards, you actually have to survive the transition first. Because honestly, from day 1 to day 3, completely changing your cellular biochemistry is pretty tough. You might experience real hunger, weakness, maybe some headaches or tiredness, as your body awkwardly figures out how to adapt to making ketones. But here's the secret. 95% of the time, feeling like this does not mean you need food. It actually just means you need to increase your sodium. Here's why. OMAD flushes out fluids and electrolytes from your system. And counterintuitively, low sodium actually causes your stress hormone, cortisol, to shoot up, which can totally wreck your sleep and just make you feel awful. So, a really simple fix: Just add a little more salt before bed. It will instantly drop that stress hormone and completely fix your sleep quality.
And then when you do finally sit down to eat that one single meal, you really have to make it count. You're going to need about 13 to 16 ounces of high-quality, nutrient-dense protein to properly stimulate muscle growth. We're talking great sources here: fatty fish like sardines, high-quality grass-fed meat, eggs, or even organ meats.
But don't stop there. You need to pair that incredible protein with some really essential sides. Dark leafy greens and avocados are absolutely non-negotiable here because you need to replenish your potassium and magnesium. And adding in fermented foods, stuff like kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi, will totally optimize your gut function and really support all that cellular cleanup we talked about.
Section 5. The 30-day takeaway. Think of your body kind of like a giant fish tank. Trying to treat individual symptoms just doesn't work if the water itself, your whole internal environment, is toxic. Doing a 30-day OMAD protocol acts like a giant, powerful filter. It cleans the tank and fixes all those broken biological signals that are holding your body back. So, I'm really curious, what's the hardest part of fasting for you? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this explainer and subscribe to the channel for more.
Now, while OMAD has massive benefits for most of us, postmenopausal women actually face a really unique challenge here. They deal with muscle atrophy and anabolic resistance due to a severe drop in estrogen, and that completely shifts how their bodies respond to fasting. It's a huge topic, and it's exactly what we're going to explore in our next breakdown, so you won't want to miss it.
This is general information. Always consult a doctor for personal medical advice.